Welcome to Cheating Tales Lab. Wonderful to have you here today. We're truly grateful for your continued support. Tell us, where in the world are you tuning in from? Big city? Small town? We'd love to know. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. The Unraveling. Caspian Thorne's fingers moved across the blueprints with practiced ease. His mind focused on the intricate details of his latest architectural design. The desk lamp illuminated his workspace as he adjusted measurements on what would become his most ambitious project yet, a sustainable skyscraper that would redefine the city's skyline. A notification ping from his phone broke his concentration. He glanced at the screen. Another late meeting for Sarah. Third time this week. Don't wait up, darling. Client dinner running late. Red heart. Cass's jaw tightened imperceptibly. He set the phone down and leaned back in his chair, memories of their wedding day flooding his mind unbidden. 5 years ago. You may now kiss the bride. Serafina looked radiant in her designer gown, her smile dazzling as she pulled Cass close. The gathered crowd erupted in applause as they shared their first kiss as husband and wife. I still can't believe you chose me, Cass whispered against her lips. Sarah's laugh tinkled like crystal. How could I not? You're brilliant, successful, and you worship the ground I walk on. What more could a girl want? Mac's words from earlier that day echoed in his mind. Are you sure about this, man? Sarah's got a reputation. But Cass had dismissed his best friend's concerns. Love had made him blind to the red flags. Present day. A loose thread on Sarah's favorite silk robe caught Cass's attention as he passed their bedroom. She'd left it draped carelessly across their bed that morning. Something about the way it lay there bothered him. Sarah was usually meticulous with her expensive clothes. He picked it up, intending to hang it properly. That's when he felt it. A small, hard rectangle in the pocket. A phone. Not her iPhone with the designer case he'd given her for Christmas. A basic burner phone. His hands didn't shake as he unlocked it. No password protection. Amateur mistake. The messages loaded. Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about how you felt beneath me. Jay, when can I see you again? S has been working late all week. S. The Ritz. Room 1542. Tomorrow at 8. Don't keep me waiting, beautiful. J. Cass scrolled through months of messages between his wife and her lover. Photos. Videos. Detailed accounts of their encounters. Plans for future meetings. The cold shock of betrayal crystallized into something harder, darker. He didn't throw the phone, didn't scream, didn't immediately confront her. Instead, he carefully photographed every message, image, piece of evidence with his own phone. Then he replaced the burner phone exactly as he'd found it. His computer beckoned. Within hours, he had traced the lover's number. Julian Sterling, venture capitalist, married with a young daughter. A message appeared from Mac. Hey man, you still up? Got those security system specs you wanted? Cass typed back. Come over. Need to show you something. An hour later, Mac sat in Cass's office, scrolling through the evidence with a grim expression. Jesus Christ, Mac muttered. How long? Based on the messages? At least 6 months. Cass's voice was eerily calm. I need everything you can find on Julian Sterling. And I mean everything. Mac looked up at his friend. The cold determination in Cass's eyes made him shiver. What are you planning? They want to play games? A cruel smile curved Cass's lips. I'll show them what happens when you play with a snake. Cass, whatever you're thinking. They're going to learn that betrayal has consequences, Mac. Both of them. Cass turned to his computer, fingers flying across the keyboard as he began creating detailed files. I built Sarah's entire social world. Time to remind her exactly who she's dealing with. The next morning, Cass kissed Sarah goodbye as she left for her yoga class, watching her drive away in the car he'd bought her last year. Within minutes, the tracking software Mac had installed was feeding him her exact location. Not the yoga studio. The Ritz. Room 1542. Cass smiled and began to plan. Days became weeks as he gathered intelligence. He learned their patterns, their meeting spots, their lies. Every detail meticulously documented and cross-referenced. Sarah never noticed the change in her husband. He remained attentive, thoughtful, the perfect spouse. If his touches grew slightly colder, his smiles a fraction less genuine. She was too wrapped up in her affair to notice. He watched her at a charity gala, holding court among her socialite friends. Evelyn Hayes hung on her every word, encouraging her veiled references to her exciting new romance. "You deserve some fun, darling," Evie purred. "God knows Cass is married to his work these days." Sarah preened under the attention. "Jude makes me feel alive, desired. When he looks at me." Cass circulated nearby, champagne in hand, recording every word. Betrayal. Justification. His phone buzzed with a text from Mac. "Financial records found. You're going to want to see this." Later that night, as Sarah slept beside him, still smelling faintly of another man's cologne, Cass reviewed Sterling's hidden accounts. Fraudulent reports. Embezzled funds. A house of cards waiting to collapse. He opened his laptop and began composing emails to Sterling's investors. Anonymous tips about concerning irregularities. The first domino was ready to fall. In his home office, surrounded by architectural plans and devastating evidence, Cass allowed himself a moment of reflection. He thought of his parents, immigrants who'd taught him the value of loyalty, of integrity, who'd worked themselves to exhaustion to give him an education. What would they think of the man he'd become? The ruthless predator emerging from beneath his controlled exterior? But then he remembered Sarah's messages to her lover. "Cass is so boring. So predictable. He actually thinks I'm at yoga right now." Faced with tears of his hand clenched around his pen until his knuckles whitened. No. No mercy. No forgiveness. They wanted to treat his love like a game? He would teach them the true meaning of loss. Let them think him predictable. Let them believe him blind. The architect was drawing up new plans now, and this design would bring their entire world crashing down. Chapter 2. Gathering Intel. The exclusive restaurant hummed with quiet conversation and the clink of fine china. Julian Sterling held court at his usual table, regaling his companions with tales of his latest business triumph. His wife Isabel sat beside him, her elegant features composed into a mask of polite interest she'd perfected over years of practice. Across the room, Cass observed them while appearing absorbed in his own business dinner. He watched Sterling's hand disappear under the table to text, noted how Isabel's smile tightened almost imperceptibly. "Another late meeting, darling," Sterling announced, rising from the table. "Don't wait up." "Of course," Isabel murmured. "Give them my best." As Sterling strode out, Cass's phone vibrated. Mac's message contained a link to an encrypted file. Found it. The Serpent's Denver. "You're not going to believe this." Later that night, Cass pored over the information in his office. The Serpent's Den, an exclusive underground club masquerading as a private social organization. In reality, it was Sterling's playground for fellow cheaters, a place where the wealthy and privileged could indulge their infidelities away from prying eyes. Or so they thought. Mac's voice crackled through the speaker. "Security's tight, but their systems are outdated. I can get access to their cameras, guest lists, everything. Good. What about the next event? 2 weeks from Saturday. Your wife and Sterling are both on the list." Cass's fingers drummed steadily on his desk. "Perfect." A soft knock interrupted them. Sarah peered in, wrapped in silk and false innocence. "Coming to bed soon, honey? Just finishing up some work." "Don't wait up." She pouted prettily. "You work too hard." Her phone chimed and she glanced at it, a fleeting smile crossing her lips before she could hide it. "Important?" Cass asked mildly. "Oh, just Evie. You know how she is." Sarah blew him a kiss and disappeared. Mac's voice returned. "Man, I don't know how you can stand it." "Practice," Cass replied coolly. "Send me everything you have on Isabel Sterling. I want to know what she knows." The next day, Cass orchestrated a careful chance meeting at a charity committee meeting. Isabel Sterling sat alone, reviewing donor lists with focused determination. "Mrs. Sterling?" "Caspian Thorne." He offered his hand. "I believe we met briefly at the Hamilton benefit last month." "Mr. Thorne, yes." Her handshake was firm, her smile genuine but guarded. "Your firm designed the new children's wing at St. Mary's, didn't it?" "Beautiful work. Please call me Cass." He sat beside her. "Actually, I was hoping to get your input on a new project." We're planning a wellness center, and your background in art therapy would be invaluable. Over the next hour, they discussed the project. Cass watched Isabel gradually relax, passion for her work overcoming her initial reserve. She was sharp, insightful, far from the trophy wife Sterling treated her as. I should go, she said finally, checking her phone. I need to pick up Lily from school. Of course. Perhaps we could continue this discussion over coffee next week? I'd love to hear more about your ideas for the therapy spaces. A moment's hesitation. I'd like that. As she gathered her things, her phone buzzed. Cass caught the flash of pain in her eyes as she read the message. Everything all right? Fine. Her smile was brittle. Just my husband. Another late meeting. Cass kept his tone carefully neutral. Those do seem to be growing more frequent in certain circles lately. Their eyes met. Something passed between them. A shared understanding. A recognition of wounds carefully hidden. Coffee sounds lovely, Mr. Thorne. Have your office contact mine with the details. After she left, Cass sent a message to Mac. I'm in. Start compiling Sterling's financial records. All of them. The response came quickly. Already on it. You should see these numbers. Guy's been cooking his books for years. Cass smiled. The pieces were falling into place. That evening, he attended a gallery opening where he knew Sarah would be meeting Sterling. He moved through the crowd like a ghost, observing their coded glances, their casual touches that lingered too long. Evelyn Hayes fluttered nearby, playing lookout while appearing absorbed in the artwork. She steered potential interruptions away, allowing the lovers their stolen moments. Cass recorded it all. His phone buzzed. A message from Isabel confirming their coffee meeting. Another from Mac with more financial documents. A third from Sarah. Don't wait up, darling. Girls' night with Evie. Red heart. He watched her leave with Sterling, saw them get into separate cars that would meet at their usual hotel. In his pocket, he felt the weight of a small recording device, a gift from Mac. Perfect for capturing interesting conversations at the Serpent's Den. The trap was nearly ready. All that remained was to give Isabel the final push she needed to join his cause. 2 days later, they met at a quiet cafe. Cass arrived early, selecting a secluded table. He watched Isabel enter, noting the careful way she scanned the room. A habit born of long experience with public scrutiny. Thank you for meeting me, she said, settling across from him. Thank you for coming. But I should be honest. This isn't entirely about the wellness center. Her shoulders tensed slightly. Oh. Cass slid a folder across the table. I think you should see this. Inside were photos, bank statements, text messages, a carefully curated selection of evidence. He watched her face as she processed it all, saw the moment resignation replaced shock. How long have you known? She asked quietly. About your husband and my wife? Recently. About the Serpent's Den? That's a more interesting story. Her head snapped up. The what? As Cass explained, Isabel's composed facade cracked. By the time he finished, tears slid silently down her cheeks. Lily, she whispered. What am I going to tell Lily? Nothing yet. Cass leaned forward. Mrs. Sterling, Isabel, I have a proposition for you. One that could ensure your daughter's future while making certain parties face some overdue consequences. She met his gaze. I'm listening. For the next hour, they planned. Cass laid out his strategy, watching approval replace despair in Isabel's eyes. You're not what I expected, she said finally. No one ever expects the architect to be dangerous. His smile was razor-sharp. That's what makes this perfect. As they parted, Isabel touched his arm. Thank you for showing me the truth. Truth is just the beginning. Justice comes next. That night, Cass added Isabel's file to his growing collection of evidence. The pieces were assembled. The plan was in motion. Soon, the Serpent's Den would welcome some unexpected guests, and the mighty would learn how far they could fall. Chapter 3. The Alliance Forged. The sunlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows of Mac's penthouse office illuminated an array of monitors displaying surveillance feeds, financial records, and encrypted messages. Cass stood behind Mac's chair, watching as his friend's fingers flew across multiple keyboards. There, Mac announced, pulling up a series of transactions. Sterling's been siphoning money from his company's pension fund. using it to finance his little club among other things. Isabel, seated nearby, pressed her hand to her mouth. Those are our employees' retirement savings. Were, Cass corrected. Most of it's been moved through shell companies into private accounts. Your husband's quite the financial architect. Not as good as the real thing, though, Mac added, shooting Cass a knowing look. These traces he left? Amateur hour. Can you recover it? Isabel asked. Already working on it, Mac assured her. More importantly, we can prove where it went and why. The SEC would be very interested in this data. Cass placed a hand on Isabel's shoulder. We'll make sure the employees are protected. That's not why we're here today. She nodded, straightening in her chair. The serpent's den tell me everything. Over the next hour, they reviewed the intelligence Mac had gathered. The club operated under the guise of a private social club, but its true purpose was far darker. Wealthy members paid exorbitant fees for discretion and access to private rooms where they could conduct their affairs away from prying eyes. Jude's been a member for 3 years, Mac explained, pulling up records. Your husband's quite popular there. But lately, he's been focusing his attention on one particular new member. Security camera footage showed Sarah entering the club, Sterling meeting her in a private room. The timestamp was from 2 days ago. Isabel's face hardened as she watched. How did I not see it? Because you didn't want to, Cass said quietly. Just like I didn't. We believed in loyalty, in vows. They counted on that. Not anymore. Isabel's voice was steel. What's our next move? The club's hosting an exclusive event next weekend, Max said. Very private, very expensive. Your husband and Sarah are both on the guest list. Perfect timing, Cass mused. Isabel, how would you like to crash a party? A smile curved her lips. I thought you'd never asked. They spent the afternoon planning, going over every detail. Mac would handle the technical aspects, security systems, cameras, communications. Cass had already begun laying the groundwork for their financial retribution. Isabel's role would be crucial, the shocked wife discovering her husband's betrayal at the perfect moment. What about Lily? Isabel asked suddenly. I can't leave her alone that night. Bring her, Cass suggested. Nothing makes a point quite like a child's innocent presence to highlight their moral corruption. Isabel hesitated. Using my daughter as a prop. Not a prop, Cass corrected. A reminder of what they're destroying, of who they're hurting. Sometimes people need to see the consequences of their actions reflected in innocent eyes. Their planning session was interrupted by Mac's alert system. Incoming. Your wife's on her way up. Cash checked his watch. Right on schedule. Isabel, are you ready? She nodded, smoothing her designer dress. They had choreographed this moment carefully. The elevator dinged, and Sarah strode into Mac's office, stopping short at the sight of Isabel. Oh, I didn't realize you had company. Mrs. Sterling and I were just discussing the new wellness center project, Cass explained smoothly. You remember I mentioned it? Of course, Sarah lied, her smile not quite reaching her eyes. How lovely to see you, Isabel. How's Jude? Busy as always, Isabel replied, her tone perfectly pleasant. So many late meetings lately. Something flickered in Sarah's eyes. Guilt? Fear? Before she masked it. Well, I won't interrupt. I just needed to tell Cass I'll be late tonight. Charity committee meeting. Of course, darling. Cass kissed her cheek. Don't work too hard. After Sarah left, Isabel released a shaky breath. That was harder than I expected. You did perfectly, Cass assured her. Did you see her face when you mentioned the late meetings? They think they're so clever, Max scoffed, turning back to his monitors. Speaking of which, your wife isn't heading to any charity meeting. She just texted Sterling. Cass's expression hardened. Track them. I want to know everywhere they go, everyone they meet, especially anyone connected to the Serpent's Denver. They spent the next few hours refining their plan. Mac had mapped the club's security systems, finding vulnerabilities they could exploit. Isabel provided details about Sterling's schedule, his habits, his weaknesses. Cass absorbed it all, weaving it into his grand design. There's one more player we need to consider, Cass said finally. Evelyn Hayes. Isabel's lip curled. Sarah's enabler. More than that, Mac interjected, pulling up surveillance photos. She's been helping arrange their meetings, running interference. She's got her own agenda. She always has, Isabel agreed. Evie's been riding Sarah's coattails for years. My husband's too, when it suits her. Cass studied the photos. She could be a problem. Or an opportunity, Max suggested. People like that? They'll sell out anyone to save themselves. Good point. Cass made a note in his file. We'll keep a close eye on her. She might prove useful later. As evening approached, they finalized the details for the upcoming club event. Timing would be crucial. Every moment choreographed for maximum impact. Lily's piano recital is that afternoon. Isabel remembered suddenly. I can't miss it. We won't, Cass assured her. In fact, it's perfect. You'll go to the recital, take lots of pictures, be the devoted mother. Then we'll arrive at the club just as things are getting interesting. Isabel gathered her things, preparing to leave. I should get home. Lily will be back from her playdate soon. One more thing, Cass said, handing her a small device. Courtesy of Mac. It looks like a normal phone, but it's got some special features. Keep it with you at all times. It's clean, Mac added. Untraceable. And it'll let us communicate securely. Isabel slipped it into her purse. Thank you. Both of you. I never thought that you'd be plotting revenge. Cass's smile was sharp. Neither did I. But they forced our hands. Now they'll learn what that means. After Isabel left, Mac turned to his friend. You sure about bringing the kid into this? Lily won't see anything she shouldn't, Cass assured him. But her presence will make a point. About consequences. About collateral damage. About the lives they're destroying with their selfish games. And what about your endgame? Mac asked quietly. How far are you willing to go? Cass stared out at the city skyline, his reflection hard and unforgiving in the glass. As far as necessary. They chose to play with fire. Now they'll learn what it means to burn. The next week would be crucial. Every move had to be perfect. Every piece in place. The serpent's den awaited, and with it, the beginning of their destruction. But first, Cass had a wife to go home to. A role to play. A mask to maintain. Let them think him blind. Let them believe themselves clever and safe. The architect's plans were drawn. Soon, they would learn the true meaning of design. Chapter 4. The Den of Vipers. The entrance to the serpent's den belied its true nature. Behind the understated facade of what appeared to be an upscale private club, decadence and betrayal flourished. Security guards in tailored suits nodded respectfully as Cass guided Isabel through the doors, Lily's small hand clasped in her mother's. Remember, Cass murmured, timing is everything. Isabel squeezed her daughter's hand. Lily, sweetheart, stay close to Mommy, okay? The little girl nodded, wide-eyed at the opulent surroundings. Crystal chandeliers sparkled overhead, their light reflecting off mirrored walls. The main room buzzed with conversation and fake laughter, the air thick with expensive perfume and secrets. In Cass's ear, Mac's voice crackled through the discreet earpiece. Security systems are compromised. I've got control of all cameras and displays. Waiting for your signal. Cass scanned the room, his expression betraying nothing as he spotted Sarah draped across a velvet chaise, Jude Sterling's hand resting possessively on her knee. Evelyn hovered nearby, playing sentinel while pretending to be absorbed in her champagne. Mommy, Lily tugged at Isabel's dress. Isn't that Daddy over there? The conversation around them dimmed as heads turned. Jude froze, his face draining of color as he spotted his wife and daughter. Sarah sat up abruptly, her champagne sloshing over the rim of her glass. Isabel, Jude recovered quickly, plastering on a smile. What an unexpected surprise. This isn't really a place for children. No, Isabel agreed coolly. It's a place for adultery, isn't it? The silence deepened. Couples throughout the room shifted uncomfortably, suddenly very interested in their drinks. I don't know what you're talking about, Jude blustered. This is a private social club. Oh, very private, Cass interrupted, stepping forward. Perfect for conducting affairs away from prying eyes. Isn't that right, darling? Sarah's glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the marble floor. Cass? What are you doing here? Supporting a friend, He replied smoothly. Isn't that what you always encourage, Sarah? Being supportive of our friends? Mac, he subvocalized. Now, the massive screens around the room flickered to life. Security camera footage began to play, dozens of clips showing various club members in compromising positions. Sarah and Jude featured prominently, their betrayal documented in high definition. Oh my God, someone whispered. Chaos erupted. People scrambled for exits, only to find them locked. Phones were pulled out, but signals had been jammed. Couples turned on each other, accusations flying. You bastard, Jude snarled, starting toward Cass. You have no right. To what? Cass's voice cut through the pandemonium like a blade. To expose your lies? Your fraud? New images appeared on the screens, financial documents, bank statements, evidence of embezzlement and corruption. Did you tell my wife about the pension fund you stole from? Cass continued conversationally. Or your mistress hear about the offshore accounts you've been hiding? Jude. Sarah turned to him, face pale. What is he talking about? He's lying, Jude snapped. This is all fabricated. Like the financial reports you showed your investors? Isabel's voice was steel. The ones you doctored to hide your theft? Mommy. Lily's small voice cut through the tension. Why is Daddy yelling? Jude deflated slightly, finally seeming to register his daughter's presence. Lily, princess, go wait outside. She stays, Isabel commanded. She deserves to see who her father really is. More footage played across the screens. Jude with other women, Sarah with other men. Years of infidelity exposed in merciless detail. You're ruining everything, Sarah hissed at Cass. All of our life. No, darling, he corrected her gently. You did that yourselves. I'm just making sure you face the consequences. Evelyn tried to slip away unnoticed, but Cass's voice stopped her. Going somewhere, Evie? Don't you want to stay for the part where we reveal your role in all this? She froze, then slowly turned back, face ashen. The messages you sent, arranging their meetings, Cass continued. The lies you helped maintain. The money you took for your silence. It's all documented. Evie. Sarah stared at her friend. You were paid to help him? I needed the money, Evelyn whispered. And you? You never really cared about anyone but yourself. The betrayal in Sarah's eyes was almost comical, considering the circumstances. Around them, the other club members were beginning to turn on each other. Accusations flew. Marriages crumbled in real time. The decadent facade of the Serpent's Den collapsed, revealing the rot beneath. Security breach. Mac's voice warned in Cass's ear. Sterling's personal guard trying to override the system. Right on schedule, Cass murmured. He raised his voice. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid our time here is almost up. But don't worry, copies of everything you've seen tonight have already been sent to a variety of interested parties. Your spouses, your boards of directors, the SEC. I believe tomorrow's papers will be quite interesting. I'll destroy you, Jude threatened, desperation making him reckless. I have connections. Had, Cass corrected. Past tense. Check your phone. Jude pulled out his phone, then staggered as if struck. His accounts were empty, his assets frozen. Years of careful corruption undone in moments. You can't do this, he breathed. I already have. Cass turned to Isabel. Ready? She nodded, taking Lily's hand. More than ready. This isn't over, Sarah called after them as they headed for the exit. Cass paused, looking back at his wife with cold eyes. No, it's not. This is just the beginning. As they left the Serpent's Den, the sound of arguing and breaking glass followed them. Cass had lit the fuse. Now he would watch it burn. In the car, Lily fell asleep quickly, exhausted by the evening's drama. Isabel stroked her daughter's hair, tears falling silently. Are you all right? Cass asked quietly. Yes. She wiped her eyes. It needed to be done. She needed to see. Even if it hurt. The truth often does, he agreed. But lies hurt more in the end. His phone buzzed, Mac confirming that all the evidence had been distributed as planned. By morning, the scandal would break. Lives would be destroyed. Reputations shattered. Cass felt no remorse. They had chosen their path. Now they would walk it to its bitter end. Chapter 5. The domino effect. The morning headlines screamed across every major newspaper and news site. Venture capitalist Jude Sterling accused of massive fraud. Elite social club exposed as haven for adultery. Sterling Investments under federal investigation. Cass sipped his coffee as he watched the chaos unfold on multiple screens in Mac's office. Stock prices plummeted. Phone lines jammed with panicked investors. Social media exploded with scandal. They're trying to control the damage, Mac reported, monitoring various channels. Sterling's PR team is in overdrive, but the evidence is too solid. They can't spin this. What about Sarah? Mac pulled up another screen. Hiding out at the Four Seasons. Her credit cards were declined this morning. Seems someone flagged them for suspicious activity. How unfortunate, Cass murmured. And her social circle? Scattering like rats from a sinking ship. Watch this. Security footage showed Sarah attempting to enter her favorite private club, only to be politely but firmly turned away. Her face crumpled as the doors closed in her face. She's been blacklisted from most of the elite venues, Mac confirmed. Anonymous tips about her activities have made her rather unwelcome. Good. Cass set down his cup. And Sterling? Board of Directors called an emergency meeting. They're voting to remove him within the hour. The SEC is already going through his records with a fine-toothed comb. The door burst open as Evelyn Hayes stormed in, makeup streaked with tears. You have to help me. Cass raised an eyebrow. I don't have to do anything, Evie. In fact, I specifically remember warning you about choosing sides carefully. They're all turning against me, she sobbed. My friends, my clients, everyone knows I helped them. I'll be ruined. Actions have consequences, he replied coldly. You chose to facilitate their betrayal. Did you think there wouldn't be a price? I'll tell you everything, she offered desperately. Things you don't know about Sarah, about Jew. There's nothing you can tell me that I don't already know. Cass cut her off. But since you're so eager to talk. He nodded to Mac, who pressed a button on his computer. A recording of Evelyn's voice filled the room. Of course I helped them hide it. Sarah's my best friend, and Jude pays very well for discretion. Recorded last week at the Serpent's Den, Mac explained cheerfully, along with several other interesting conversations about your role in their affairs. Evelyn sank into a chair, face ashen. You were recording everything? For months, Cass confirmed. Every meeting you arranged. Lie you helped maintain. Bribe you took. What do you want from me? Nothing. His smile was cruel. That's the beauty of it, Evie. You're no longer useful to anyone. No one trusts a known traitor. Her phone buzzed. Another social media notification. Another friend publicly denouncing her. Another client cutting ties. Please, she whispered. I'll do anything. You already did, Cass replied. You helped destroy my marriage. Now you get to watch your own life crumble. Seems fair, doesn't it? Mac's computer chimed with new alerts. Sterling's out, he reported. Board voted unanimously to remove him. His assets are frozen pending investigation. How's Isabel handling it? Like a queen. Mac pulled up footage from a press conference. Isabel stood at a podium, elegant and composed. I am deeply shocked by these revelations about my husband's financial misconduct. My primary concern now is protecting our employees' pensions and ensuring justice is served. As of this morning, I have filed for divorce and am cooperating fully with investigators. She's perfect, Cass murmured. Strong, sympathetic, completely blindsided by her husband's crimes. The media will love her. Already do, Mac confirmed. She's getting interview requests from all the major networks. People love a wronged woman who fights back. Evelyn stood on shaky legs. I should go. Yes, you should. Cass didn't bother looking at her. Oh, and Evie? Don't bother trying to sell your story to the tabloids. We've already provided them with quite a detailed account of your role in all this. She fled, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Mac whistled lowly. Brutal, man. They wanted to play games, Cass shrugged. I'm just better at them. His phone buzzed. A message from Sarah. We need to talk? No, he typed back. We really don't. Another message. Please. I can explain everything. He blocked her number without responding. She's getting desperate, Mac noted. Running out of friends, money, options. Good. Cass stood, straightening his jacket. That's exactly where I want her. Keep monitoring everything. I want to know the moment either of them tries to retaliate. You think they will? Of course. People like that? They never accept defeat gracefully. They'll try something stupid soon. And when they do? Cass's smile was predatory. Then we destroy whatever's left of them. He headed for the door, pausing briefly. How's Lily doing? Isabel says she's okay. Confused, but okay. They're staying at the safe house we arranged. Good. Double the security there. Sterling's getting desperate. I don't trust him not to try something rash. As if on cue, Mac's computer pinged with a new alert. Speaking of rash, Sterling just tried to access his emergency accounts in the Caymans. The ones we already emptied? Yep. Man's not taking it well. Security camera shows him having a complete meltdown at the bank. Send the footage to the media, Cass instructed. Let them see exactly what kind of man he is when he's not in control. He left Mac's office and headed for his car, ignoring the journalists camped outside. Let them speculate. Let them dig. Everything they found would only confirm what he'd revealed. Each new discovery would drive another nail into Sterling and Sarah's coffins. The dominoes were falling exactly as planned, and he was just getting started. Chapter 6. The Fight Back. The law office of Sterling's latest attorney radiated old money and desperation. Cass sat calmly across from Jude and his lawyer, watching them squirm. These accusations are baseless, the attorney declared. Your client is finished, Cass interrupted smoothly. The SEC has his records. The board has voted him out. His assets are frozen. Would you like me to continue? You orchestrated this, Jude snarled. You planted evidence. Did I force you to embezzle from your company's pension fund? Cass's voice was razor-sharp. Did I make you doctor financial reports? Create fake accounts? No, that was all you, Jude. We'll sue you for defamation. With what money? Cass smiled coldly. Your accounts are empty. Your assets frozen. Even this overpriced attorney won't stick around once he realizes you can't pay him. The lawyer shifted uncomfortably in his chair. Face it, Sterling. You're done. The only question is how much deeper you want to dig your grave. I have friends in high places. Had, Cass corrected. Past tense. Check your phone. See how many of them are still taking your calls. Jude grabbed his phone, fingers trembling as he scrolled through contacts. Number after number went straight to voicemail. What do you want? He finally asked, defeated. Nothing. That's what makes this perfect. You can't buy me off. Can't threaten me. Can't stop me. Cass stood, buttoning his jacket. I'm going to watch you lose everything, piece by piece. And there's nothing you can do about it. He left them there, the lawyer already reaching for his briefcase, preparing to abandon another sinking ship. In the lobby, his phone buzzed with a message from Mac. Sarah's making moves. Called in some favors. Hired a PI to dig into you. Cass smiled. Right on schedule. The private investigator wasn't hard to find. Mac had identified him within hours of his hiring. A quick meeting, a larger check than Sarah could offer, and the man was suddenly very cooperative. She wants dirt on you, he reported, accepting Cass's payment. Something she can use to fight back. And what will you tell her? Nothing useful. Dead ends and wild geese, just like we agreed. Good man. But Sarah wasn't done. When bribery failed, she tried blackmail. When that failed, she turned to threats. The messages piled up on his blocked numbers. I'll tell everyone about your family's past. Your clients won't work with you when they know the truth. You think you're so perfect? I know your secrets. Each threat only amused Cass more. He'd prepared for this, documented and countered each possible attack vector before she'd even thought of them. Mac forwarded another alert. Sterling's trying something new. He's approaching your clients, spreading rumors. Cass checked the details on his tablet. Sterling had indeed been busy, contacting major developers and investors, trying to poison them against Cass's firm. Mr. Thorne? His assistant's voice came through the intercom. Mr. Chun from Azure Development is here. He seems concerned. Send him in. James Chun strode in, tablet in hand. Cass, we need to talk. I've been hearing some disturbing thing. From Jude Sterling? Cass interrupted smoothly. Let me guess. He told you I'm unstable, untrustworthy, that my firm is on shaky ground? Chun blinked. How did you? Because he's desperate. Cass pulled up a file on his computer, turning the screen toward Chun. These are Sterling's recent financial records. The real ones, not the fake reports he's been feeding his investors. Notice anything interesting? Chun leaned forward, eyes widening as he scanned the numbers. This can't be right. These transactions are illegal? Yes. That's why the SEC is investigating him. That's why his assets are frozen. That's why he's trying to discredit anyone he thinks might threaten what's left of his reputation. But our project is proceeding exactly as planned. On schedule, under budget. Unlike Sterling, I believe in honest business practices. Chin relaxed slightly. I appreciate your candor. When Sterling approached me, you did exactly the right thing coming to me directly. Cass stood, extending his hand. Transparency is everything in our business, Mr. Chan. I trust this puts your concerns to rest. After Chin left, reassured and apologetic, Mac called. That's the third client Sterling's tried to poach this week, and the third one who's chosen to stick with us, Cass noted. How's he taking the rejection? Not well. Security cameras at his club showed him trashing the place after Chun called to cut all ties. Send the footage to his board. Let them see how their former CEO handles stress. A new alert popped up on his screen. Isabel's security team reporting movement near the safe house. Mac, what's happening at Isabel's? Sterling tried to get past the security gate. Guards turned him away, but he was ranting about seeing his daughter. Increase security. I want eyes on him at all times. Already done. Izzy's fine. Says Lily didn't even know he was there. Cass's phone buzzed with a text from Isabel. Thank you for the extra security. Jude's getting erratic. Stay safe, he replied. Don't hesitate to call if you need anything. The next attack came from an unexpected direction. Evelyn Hayes, desperate to salvage something from the wreckage of her social life, went to the media with a story about Cass being the real villain. It lasted exactly 6 hours before Mac released evidence of her involvement in Sterling's schemes. Her tearful interview was quickly overshadowed by revelations about her own corruption. They're running out of options, Mac observed during their evening strategy session. Sterling's burned through 3 law firms. Sarah's credit cards are maxed out. Evie's been blacklisted from society. Good. Cass reviewed the latest surveillance reports. Have you traced the source of those rumors about my family? Sarah hired some hack journalists to dig into your parents' immigration story. Don't worry, I've handled it. How? Let's just say the journalist found some much more interesting stories about Sarah's own past. The article he's writing now isn't quite what she paid for. Cass smiled grimly. Perfect. A notification pinged, another security alert from the safe house. This time, Sterling had sent lawyers, demanding access to Lily. He's getting desperate, Mac warned. Desperate people do stupid things. Let him. Cass's voice was cold. The more he lashes out, the more evidence we gather. Each failed attack just proves why he's unfit to be near Lily. His phone buzzed. Sarah again. This time from a new number. You can't ignore me forever. We need to talk about this like adults. Cass finally replied. There's nothing to talk about. You made your choices. Now live with them. I'll tell everyone about us, she threatened. About our marriage, our private lie. Go ahead. Unlike you, I have nothing to hide. He blocked the new number and turned back to his work. Let them plot and scheme. Let them try to fight back. Each attempt would only hasten their fall. By the time he left the office that night, 3 more of Sterling's business associates had cut ties with him. 2 more social clubs had revoked Sarah's membership. Another journalist had declined to run Evelyn's version of events. The noose was tightening. Soon, they would have nowhere left to turn. His phone chimed one last time. A message from Isabel. Lily asked about you today. Says she misses her Uncle Cass. For the first time that day, his smile held genuine warmth. Tell her I miss her too. Stay safe, both of you. Tomorrow would bring new attacks, new desperate attempts to regain control. Sterling and Sarah would try again, refuse to accept their fate. But Cass was ready. Let them come. Each move they made only brought them closer to their ultimate destruction. The game was nearly over, and Cass held all the winning cards. Chapter 7. The Final Gambit. Cass watched the security feed as Jude Sterling paced his penthouse office, phone pressed to his ear. The once powerful venture capitalist had grown gaunt, his designer suit hanging loose on his frame. "You don't understand," Sterling pleaded into the phone. "I can explain everything about my father's dealing." The call ended abruptly. Another investor cutting ties. Mac's voice came through Cass's earpiece. "That's the third rejection today. He's running out of lifelines." Good. Cass turned to his laptop, reviewing the latest intelligence. What about the offshore accounts? Found them all. His father was sloppy, left paper trails a mile wide. Want me to release the documents? Not yet. Let's see how he handles this first. On screen, Sterling hurled his phone against the wall, then slumped into his chair, head in his hands. The mighty brought low. Cass's own phone buzzed. A message from Isabel. "Jude's lawyers are pushing for unsupervised visits with Lily. They won't get them," he replied. "The evidence we have ensures that." Another screen showed Sarah, attempting to enter her favorite spa only to be turned away. Her perfect makeup couldn't hide her desperation as she argued with the staff. "Sir?" His assistant's voice interrupted. "Mrs. Thorne is here. She's insisting." Cass smiled coldly. "Send her in." Sarah swept into his office, a shadow of her former glamorous self. Her designer clothes were last season's, her jewelry noticeably absent, sold to maintain appearances. "You've made your point," she declared, trying to sound commanding. "This has gone far enough." "Has it?" Cass didn't look up from his work. "I don't think it's gone nearly far enough. Our friends, our reputation." "Your friends," he corrected. "Your reputation. I'm doing quite well. You're destroying everything." Now he did look up, fixing her with an icy stare. "No, Sarah. You destroyed everything when you chose to betray our marriage. I'm simply ensuring you face the consequences." "It was a mistake," she pleaded, changing tactics. "I was confused, unhappy." "Save the performance." His voice cut like a blade. "You weren't confused. You weren't unhappy. You were greedy, selfish. You wanted more attention, more excitement. Now you have neither." "I'll tell everyone about your family," she threatened desperately. "About your father's struggles when you first came here." "Go ahead." He smiled, showing teeth. "Unlike you, I'm not ashamed of my family's history. We worked hard, stayed honest, built something real." "What have you built, Sarah? Besides a web of lies?" She recoiled as if struck. "You're cruel." "No, I'm just no longer blind to what you are." He pressed a button on his desk. "Security will escort you out. Don't come back." As she was led away, Mac's voice returned. "Sterling's on the move. Heading to Isabel's charity event. Right on schedule. Alert her security team." The charity gala was in full swing when Sterling arrived, trying to project his old confidence. He made it 3 steps before security intercepted him. "Sir, you're not on the list." "Don't be ridiculous," Sterling blustered. "My wife is chairing this event." "Ex-wife." Isabel's voice cut in. She approached, elegant and composed. "And you're not welcome here, Jude." "Izzy, please. Let me explain." "Explain what?" Her voice carried, drawing attention. "How you stole from our employees' pensions. How you lied to everyone. How you betrayed our family. You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." She gestured to security. "Remove him. And make sure the press gets good photos." As Sterling was dragged away, photographers swarming, Cass watched from the shadows. Another piece in place. Back in his office, he reviewed the day's progress with Mac. "Sterling's father's records are ready to leak," Mac reported. "Once these hit the media, the whole family's reputation is finished. Do it. And make sure those videos of Sarah reach the right gossip columns." "You sure about that?" "They're pretty damaging." She chose to record them. "Let everyone see who she really is." His phone lit up with notification after notification as the information spread. Sterling's father's decades of fraud exposed. Sarah's private moments made public. Their worlds crumbling in real time. A message from Evelyn Hayes popped up. Please, I can help you. I know things about both of them. He deleted it without reading further. She'd chosen her side long ago. Mac, make sure Ms. Hayes' role in all this gets proper attention. She wanted to play both sides. Let her face the consequences. Already done. Those recordings of her taking bribes to cover for them just hit social media. Cass leaned back, satisfaction coursing through him. They'd all chosen to play their games, thinking themselves clever and untouchable. Now they would learn the true meaning of consequences. Sterling's desperate calls went unanswered. Sarah's social invitations dried up. Evelyn's attempts at damage control backfired spectacularly. And Cass? He was just getting started. The real destruction was yet to come. Sir? His assistant again. Mr. Chen called. The Azure development contract is ready to sign. And Mrs. Sterling asked me to give you this. A simple note in Isabel's elegant hand. Lily asked if you're coming to her recital next week. She's saving you a seat. For the first time that day, Cass's smile held warmth. Let Sterling and Sarah plot their desperate schemes. Let them try to salvage what remained of their ruined lives. He had already won, and their suffering was only beginning. Chapter 8. The Reckoning. The stage was set in the Grand Plaza Hotel's main ballroom. News cameras positioned strategically. Reporters briefed and ready. A carefully curated guest list of society's elite, all eager for the next act in the ongoing drama. Cass adjusted his tie, reviewing the final preparations with Mac. All the evidence is loaded, he asked. Ready to go. Sterling and Sarah won't know what hit them, and they'll both be here? Sterling thinks it's a business opportunity, last chance to save his company. Sarah believes it's a society fundraiser where she can rebuild her reputation. Cass nodded. Perfect. The ballroom filled quickly. The wealthy and powerful of the city, drawn by hints of more scandal to come. Cass noted familiar faces, board members, social leaders, former friends of the disgraced couple. Sterling arrived first, desperately trying to network. But backs turned as he approached. Conversations died. Years of goodwill destroyed by his exposed corruption. Sarah swept in later, head high despite her reduced circumstances. Her dress was borrowed, her jewelry fake, but she still attempted to project her old confidence. Neither noticed the cameras tracking their movements, the microphones catching their increasingly desperate attempts to salvage their positions. At precisely 9 o'clock, Cass took the stage. The room hushed. Good evening, he began smoothly. Thank you all for coming. Some of you may be wondering why you're here. Sterling froze mid-conversation. Sarah's champagne glass trembled. Recently, our community was rocked by scandal, Cass continued. Revelations about infidelity, fraud, corruption. But you haven't heard the whole story. Tonight, that changes. The massive screens behind him flickered to life. Security footage from the Serpent's Den played, but not the clips previously released. These were worse. Much worse. Sterling threatening employees to keep quiet about his schemes. Sarah bragging about manipulating Cass while bleeding his accounts dry. Both of them mocking their spouses, their friends, everyone they claimed to care about. Stop this, Sterling demanded, starting forward. Security blocked his path. Oh, we're just getting started, Cass smiled coldly. Let's talk about your father's empire, Jude. The one built on fraud and extortion. The one you continued so proudly. More evidence appeared. Bank records. Witness statements. Years of criminal behavior exposed in merciless detail. You can't prove any of this, Sterling blustered, but his face had gone ash-white. I already have. The SEC has all of this and more. They're announcing formal charges tomorrow morning. But I wanted your friends to see it first. Sarah tried to slip away, but Cass's voice stopped her. Leaving so soon, darling? But we haven't gotten to your part yet. The screens changed again. Text messages. Photos. Videos she thought were private. You didn't, she whispered. You forget who installed our home security system, he replied. Who handled all our technology. Did you really think those recordings you made were just for Sterling's eyes? The audience murmured in shock as Sarah's true nature was revealed. Her manipulation of friends, her exploitation of Cass's wealth, her countless betrayals. These are lies, she protested weakly. No, Sarah, for once in your life, you're facing the truth. Your truth. Security had to restrain Sterling as more evidence mounted. His father's crimes, his own embezzlement, the lives he'd ruined through his greed and arrogance. I'll destroy you, he threatened Cass. With what? Cass's voice was ice. Your money? Gone. Your connections? Abandoned you. Your reputation? He gestured at the screens. Destroyed by your own actions. The final blow came from an unexpected direction. Isabel entered, Lily holding her hand. Daddy? Lily's voice carried in the silent room. Why are you hurting people? Sterling crumpled. All his defenses, all his bluster, shattered by his daughter's innocent question. I'm releasing all of this to the media tonight, Cass announced to the room, along with evidence of everyone who helped cover up their crimes. You all might want to check your phones. Those who aided them. Well, I believe the phrase is guilty by association. Phones buzzed throughout the ballroom as reputations crumbled in real time. You can't do this, Sarah pleaded. I already have. He turned back to the audience. Ladies and gentlemen, you've spent years celebrating these people, admiring them, following their lead. Now you know who they really are. Choose your next moves carefully. The exodus began immediately. Former friends couldn't distance themselves fast enough. Phones rang as damage control began. Sterling had to be escorted out, ranting about lawsuits and revenge. Sarah remained frozen, watching her social world disintegrate. Why? She asked Cass's security approach to remove her. Why like this? Because you chose to play games, he replied simply. I'm just better at them than you. After the chaos subsided, Mac joined him at the podium. That was brutal, he observed. It was necessary. Cass straightened his tie. Have the media releases gone out? All channels. By morning, they'll be ruined beyond recovery. Good. He watched Isabel comfort Lily across the room. Make sure the security footage gets to Sterling's custody hearing. Already done. Mac hesitated. You know they'll try to fight back. Let them try. Cass's smile was predatory. Each attempt will only destroy them further. The fallout was immediate and devastating. By midnight, Sterling's remaining business partners had cut all ties. Sarah's social circle evaporated completely. Their world burned to ash. And Cass? He went home to review the architectural plans for his latest project, a center for victims of financial fraud and domestic betrayal. Sometimes destruction could lead to creation. And he was just getting started. Chapter 9. The Serpent's Legacy. The morning headlines told the final chapter of Sterling and Sarah's downfall. Sterling arrested on federal fraud charges. Society couple's empire collapses. Serpent's Den scandal claims final victim. Cass reviewed them over breakfast, satisfaction coursing through him. Mac's morning report confirmed total victory. Sterling, facing multiple federal indictments, had fled the country, only to be arrested at the airport. His father's entire financial empire was under investigation. Decades of fraud exposed. Sarah, penniless and abandoned, had retreated to a small apartment in the suburbs. Her social media accounts deleted. Her former friends pretended they'd never known her. Evelyn Hayes had left the city entirely, her own reputation destroyed by her role in their schemes. But Cass wasn't finished yet. The foundation paperwork is ready, his lawyer confirmed. The Center for Recovery and Renewal, focusing on helping victims of financial fraud and domestic betrayal rebuild their lives. Perfect. Cass signed the documents. Make sure Sterling's seized assets go directly to the pension fund he stole from. His victims deserve restitution. A knock interrupted them. Isabel entered, looking elegant as always, but now with an inner strength that hardened her grace. The first support group meeting is tonight, she announced. We already have 20 participants. Good. Cass gestured for her to sit. How's Lily? Better. The therapist says she's processing everything well. She asks about you. Tell her Uncle Cass will be at her next recital. They reviewed the foundation's plans together. Programs for financial literacy, counseling services, legal aid for those fighting back against fraud and betrayal. You've turned revenge into something positive, Isabel observed. Justice, he corrected. Revenge is personal. This is about ensuring others don't suffer the same fate. His phone buzzed. Another desperate message from Sarah, begging for mercy. He deleted it without reading further. Still no forgiveness? Isabel asked softly. Some actions can't be forgiven, he replied. Some betrayals leave scars that never heal. The best we can do is ensure they never happen again. The foundation grew quickly. Success stories mounted. Lives rebuilt from the ashes of betrayal. Cass watched it all with satisfaction, knowing that his pain had birthed something meaningful, something lasting. Sterling's trial made headlines for weeks. His father's empire crumbled completely. Generations of corruption exposed and punished. Sarah's attempts to rebuild her social standing failed repeatedly. Her beauty, once her greatest asset, couldn't overcome her exposed true nature. But Cass had moved beyond them. Their destruction was complete. His focus now was on building something new. The center became his legacy, a place where victims found strength, where betrayal transformed into resolve. And through it all, he remained what the experience had made him, a man who understood both darkness and light, who could be ruthless in pursuit of justice, yet gentle with those who deserved protection. Lily's piano recital marked the final chapter. She played beautifully, her innocence unmarred by her father's sins. Afterward, she hugged Cass tightly. "Thank you for making Mommy happy again," she whispered. He held her close, remembering why the destruction had been necessary. Some things were worth burning the world to protect. Later, in his office, he reviewed plans for the center's expansion. More locations, more programs, more lives to rebuild. A message from Mac appeared. Sterling's appeal denied. He's facing 20 years minimum. Cass smiled. Justice served. The sun set on his empire of vengeance, but rose on something greater. A legacy built not just on destruction, but on renewal. He was no longer the man who discovered that phone in his wife's drawer. He was someone stronger. Someone who understood that true power lay not just in the ability to destroy, but in the choice of what to build from the ashes. The serpent had been crushed, but from its remains, something far more powerful had risen. Epilogue: The New Order. 5 years later, the Center for Recovery and Renewal stood as a testament to transformation. What had begun as one man's instrument of revenge had evolved into an international network of support and rehabilitation, helping thousands rebuild their lives after betrayal and fraud. Caspian Thorne surveyed the newest addition to the complex from his office. The Lily Sterling Wing, dedicated to helping children affected by familial trauma, would open next month. The irony of naming it after the child whose innocence had helped expose the serpent's den wasn't lost on him. "The final inspection report, sir," his assistant said, placing a folder on his desk. "And Mr. Stone is here for your meeting." Mac entered, looking more polished than his tech entrepreneur days, but still maintaining that edge of cynical awareness that had made him such a valuable ally. "The annual numbers are in," Mac announced, settling into a chair. "You're not going to believe the impact stats." Cass reviewed the data. Over 5,000 people helped in the past year alone. Millions in fraudulent assets recovered. Hundreds of lives rebuilt. "How's our special guest doing?" Cass asked. Mac grinned. "Still rotting in federal prison. Sterling's latest appeal was denied last week. The evidence was too solid. And his father? Died 6 months ago. Alone in minimum security. The empire they spent generations building." Max snapped his fingers. "Gone in an instant." Cass nodded, satisfaction warming him. Justice had been thorough. "What about Sarah?" he asked, though he already knew. He kept tabs on all of them, ensuring they never recovered enough to threaten others again. Still living in that small apartment in New Jersey. Works as a sales clerk at a department store. Tries to date occasionally, but... Max shrugged. "Your exposé was pretty thorough. Anyone who Googles her finds out exactly who she is." "And Evelyn?" "Last I heard, she was in Arizona. Changed her name, trying to start over. Not having much luck. Turns out being a known betrayer makes it hard to build new relationships." Their conversation was interrupted by a knock. Isabel entered, elegant as ever, but now carrying herself with the confidence of a woman who knew her own worth. "The board meeting's in 10 minutes, she reminded them. As the center's director of outreach, She'd found her true calling, helping others escape the same traps she'd once faced. "How's Lily?" Cass asked. Isabel beamed. "Top of her class. Just got accepted to Stanford's pre-law program. She wants to help people like we do, but through the legal system, following in her mother's footsteps, not her father's," Mac observed. "Speaking of which, has he tried to contact her again?" Isabel's expression hardened slightly. "He sends birthday cards from prison. She returns them unopened. She hasn't forgotten what he did to our family." The years had been kind to Isabel. After the very public implosion of her marriage, she'd thrown herself into rebuilding, not just her own life, but others. The society pages that had once fawned over Sarah now praised Isabel's humanitarian work. "The new wing's dedication ceremony is next month," she continued. "The governor's confirmed he'll attend. We're getting coverage from all major networks." "Perfect timing," Mac noted. "It's almost the anniversary of the Serpent's Den expose." 5 years, Cass mused. "Sometimes it feels like yesterday." His phone buzzed. Another blocked message from Sarah. She still tried to reach him occasionally, though less frequently now. The messages varied from pleading to threatening to desperate attempts at manipulation. He deleted them all unread. "The support group's waiting," Isabel reminded him. "You promised to speak to them today." Cass stood, straightening his tie. These sessions were important, showing others that survival was possible, that betrayal didn't have to define them. The support group met in a comfortable room designed to feel safe and welcoming. 20 people looked up as Cass entered. New faces mixed with familiar ones, all sharing the same wounded but determined look he'd once seen in his own mirror. "My name is Caspian Thorne," he began, "and like you, I was betrayed by someone I trusted completely." He told his story, not the sanitized version from the press, but the raw truth. The discovery, the pain, the cold rage that had fueled his response. "But revenge alone is hollow," he continued. "True victory comes from transforming pain into purpose. That's why we're here. Not just to survive betrayal, but to emerge stronger." After the session, he found Mac waiting in his office. "Got something you should see," Mac said, pulling up data on his tablet. "Remember that offshore account we could never trace? Finally cracked it." Cass reviewed the information. The account led to more of Sterling's hidden assets, money they could recover for his victims. "Send it to the prosecutors," he instructed. "Make sure the pension fund gets first claim." "Already done." "But that's not the interesting part." Max scrolled to another document. "Look who else was involved." Cass studied the names. More conspirators. More people who'd helped cover up Sterling's crimes. "They thought they'd escape notice," Max said with satisfaction. "Want me to release this?" "Not yet. Let's do this properly. Build the cases, gather evidence. Then, take them all down at once." Mac grinned. "Just like old times." "Justice," Cass corrected, "not revenge. There's a difference." But his smile held that same cold edge that had once terrorized the Serpent's Den. Later that evening, Cass visited the center's childcare facility. Lily was there, volunteering as she often did after school. At 17, she'd grown into a poised young woman with her mother's grace and a determination to right wrongs. "Uncle Cass." She hugged him warmly. "Did you see my acceptance letter?" "Stanford's lucky to have you," he replied. "Your mother's very proud. I couldn't have done it without you both." She gestured at the children playing nearby. "You showed me how to turn bad things into something good." A news alert pinged on his phone. Another story about Sterling's denied appeal. Lily noticed but didn't react. She'd long ago processed her father's betrayal. "He wrote again," she said quietly. "Same excuses. Same promises. And I burned it. Some things can't be forgiven." Cass squeezed her shoulder, proud of her strength. That night, reviewing the day's reports, Cass reflected on how far they'd come. The center had grown beyond his wildest expectations. Lives were being changed. Justice was being served. His phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. "But not Sarah this time. Remember me? Your little scheme ruined my life. I was just a guest at that club. You had no right." Cass forwarded it to Mac for tracing, then blocked the number. Occasionally, someone from the Serpent's Den tried to retaliate. They never succeeded. The next morning brought news that Evelyn Hayes had tried and failed to launch a lifestyle blog under her new identity. Social media had quickly exposed her past, driving away sponsors. Should we do something? Isabel asked when he showed her. No. She made her choices. Let her live with them. They had more important work to focus on. The center was expanding again, opening branches in 3 new cities. Each location would help more people escape toxic relationships, recover from fraud, rebuild shattered lives. Mac's team had developed software to detect financial fraud patterns, helping prevent future Sterlings from destroying lives. Isabel's outreach programs were being studied as models for trauma recovery. And Cass? He'd found his true purpose. The architect now designed futures instead of buildings. The man who'd once been consumed by revenge now helped others channel their pain into positive change. But he hadn't gone soft. When cases of betrayal or fraud crossed his desk, that cold ruthlessness resurfaced. He still believed some actions were unforgivable. Some people deserved to lose everything. The difference was in how he applied that judgment. Strategic demolition rather than blind destruction. Calculated justice rather than pure revenge. His empire had evolved, but its foundations remained solid. Betrayal had consequences. Actions had prices. And sometimes, the most elegant revenge was simply ensuring that people faced the full weight of their own choices. A week later, he attended Lily's graduation ceremony. Watching her accept her diploma with honors, he remembered that night at the Serpent's Den. A child's innocence cutting through layers of adult corruption. Now she stood tall, unshadowed by her father's crimes. She learned from others' mistakes instead of repeating them. In that way, perhaps, some good had come from all the pain. After the ceremony, Isabel hugged her daughter with tears of pride. Your father tried to send a gift, she mentioned quietly. Return it, Lily said firmly. I have all the family I need right here. Later, reviewing applications for the center's scholarship program, Cass found himself thinking about cycles. How betrayal could lead to destruction or growth. How revenge could consume or transform. His phone buzzed, Max sending an update on their latest case. Another financial predator thinking himself untouchable. Another web of lies waiting to be exposed. Cass smiled. Some habits died hard. But now he had built something lasting. Something that would continue helping others long after Sterling and Sarah were forgotten. Their betrayal had forged him into something stronger, more purposeful. The Serpent's legacy wasn't destruction after all. It was transformation. And in the end, that was the sweetest revenge of all. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.